Nagash, how are you today?
I'm very fine. Thank you very much.
I'm very happy to have you here, and thank you so much for this interview. I'm really excited to talk to you today, especially because Nexus Polaris, it's a very iconic album and I guess a very important record for the band and for many fans around the world. So now that you are bringing Nexus Polaris to Mexico live, that makes this even more special, right?
Yeah, definitely.
What are your expectations about your visit to Mexico with Nexus Polaris?
Well, since we were there last time, I've only heard about Latin American fans of metal. I learned that Latin American people are very fucking passionate when it comes to metal and rock in general. They're very dedicated and they know so much about the entire history of like Scandinavian, Nordic metal and things like this. Very surprising and very positive experience. I really enjoyed it. So expectations this time around is very high. So hoping we can make everybody satisfied.
Yeah, I guess. But as I told you, I went to Candelabrum and it was the best band for me. Like very, really enjoy it very much. And well, you started in black metal, right? But then your sound become more futuristic, something like that. When did that change happen for you? Like when did you start looking forward and not looking back?
I've always been like this ever since I was little. My entire family is also musicians. My father was also a famous rock musician in Norway in the 70s and the 80s. So ever since I was little, I was like 1 year old when I was at my first festival, like metal rock and roll festival. I had like these headphones on, lying in this little crib for babies. And he was also heavily into science fiction and futuristic stuff, so I've always been into that. But the first album we did, it was, of course, it was very like cosmic, spacey, black metal, atmospheric stuff already then. But as I grow older, you know, more of my interests and influences show up in the music. But to make it very simple, first album, we were very young. First demo tapes too, we were like 13, 14 years old. First album, we were 16 years old when we recorded the first album. So we were not drinking, we were not doing anything, no partying, anything, just music.
Really?
And then we discovered alcohol when you turn 18 to 20, you know.
And then
Nexus, yeah. And then Nexus Polaris happened, and then we discovered drugs, you know, and then we did animatronic, and then we stopped doing the drugs and discovered cannabis and things like this instead, and then SETI happened, you know. So that's the simple version.
That's so funny. That's so funny. The move to more like an industrial sound, was it something you wanted as an artist? Or did you feel you needed to break the rules of black metal?
I always break the rules of black metal. I break all the rules that I can. You know, it's in life in general. I try to break as many rules as I can. Especially in music, if someone says like you cannot do this, you are not allowed to use keyboards, you cannot sing like that or anything, I have to do it. You know, I hate when people tell me what I can and can't do. So, yes. And in the early 90s, it was very like Puritan, you know, puritanical. When we first did Nexus Polaris, people were like, no, you cannot play that. They're gonna kill you. They're gonna kick your ass. You're not allowed to play your bass like this. You can't do this. And
they're gonna call you poser or something like that.
Yeah, poser. So we've entire career people always give us shit, but more people love what we're doing. You know, it's just a very small minority of all these people who say like, no, you should not be selling albums. You should just release a cassette with and sell it to 50 people. You know, so I think it's bullshit.
City came out today in a world with AI and many conspiracy ideas. Do you think people will understand it better now than in 2003?
Oh, definitely. I get so many messages from people who say like, when Nexus Polaris came out or Animatronic or SETI, they were like, oh, I hated the album. I thought it was shit. And then 20 years later, oh my God, it's the best album in my collection, you know?
Of course.
And I've always been into what people would call conspiracy theories. I don't call them conspiracy theories, it's truth. So I've always been writing about things like this. And I will for the next music, the new albums, things like this too. I don't like to get stuck in one thing and then just do that for 40 years, you know, just the same album again and again and again. I mean, it works for some bands, you know, like AC/DC or, you know, Iron Maiden and things, but not for us. And I think that's also what makes extreme metal in general makes it more interesting, you know? Because in the beginning, people were a little bit afraid to experiment. I think we helped to break that, especially when we won Grammy Awards for this, for those two albums, and it allowed more bands to just do whatever the hell they want, you know? Put even fucking banjo guitars in there, just do techno black metal, like bands like Dödheimskar or Mysticum, bands like this, you know? So I think metal in general is very open-minded and very, very vibrant. I think it will live forever, you know?
Maybe, I don't know. I think this, like, maybe the fans are the ones that some of them are very straight and very conservative, like, no, this is the old school sound and I want this sound, like, that's it. But not the musicians, you know? I've been to so many bands and they say the same, like, we do what we want, we can, you know, like, switch to another sound or, I don't know, fusions. But the fans, sometimes are the ones that are conservative or they want the same sound.
Yeah, but like I said, it's a very small minority of people who are like this. And I think it's very narrow-minded and very... I think it's not to step on too many toes, but I think it's a very sign of low intelligence when you act like this.
Yeah.
I think it's the reason why, for example, punk or rap or any genre like this, why it gets boring and gets outdated, because it's the same thing and everyone is doing the same thing and it's nothing new or anything like this. In extreme metal, I think the fans are very much more open-minded, and I think that helps the bands as well, of course. I think the IQ level and intelligence level is a lot higher, because people think we just drink beer and we listen to Iron Maiden and that's it, you know? And it's much more than that. We're very philosophical, we're very spiritual people, very open-minded when it comes to music. Everyone that I know listens to everything. I mean, you have the core of being into metal and darker things, but you can still listen to, I mean, like 80s bands, you know, like even like Tina Turner or Lady Gaga, things like this, you know. So you can always find something dark.
Britney Spears.
Yeah. Or Spice Girls, you know, it's a very evil thing with the whole thing they're doing, manipulating the kids and stuff. So
agree.
Yeah.
I
Totally.
want to go to Backstreet Boys concert at the Sphere in Vegas. I really
Yeah.
but if I say that on my social media, it's like, oh no, you know, you're a poser, and I agree, totally agree.
Yeah.
Okay, like we said, you already played at Candelabrum, and how was that experience for you? I think it was your first time, right, in Mexico?
Yeah, first time in Latin America, South America in general. I've never been there. Not even with Dimmu Borgir, because I quit before they started doing the bigger things, So it was very interesting. I really loved going to like South America and Mexico, and so really enjoyed it.
And what about the food? What about the crowd, the people at Candelabrum?
The food is amazing, and especially the fucking alcohol. I'm a big fan of tequila, things like this. So and the fans of metal are the best I can say. It's like Norway in the early 90s when it comes to how the fans appreciate everything. So maybe a weird thing to say, but that's how it kind of, very. So Norway in the early 90s, it's kind of like what South America and Latin America is to me.
Okay, you will play Nexus Polaris, as we were saying, and this album is very iconic. For many fans, it's one of your most important work, right? What does it mean for you to play this album today, especially for people who were not there when it first came out?
Well, without sounding too arrogant, which I really don't care about anyway, it's I think Nexus Polaris specifically is a very timeless album. It doesn't seem that it ever becomes old. It's like we could have released it like last month, But I know people appreciate that album a lot, and I think it's because at that time, many bands were very conservative when it comes to extreme metal, and I think that if bands like us or bands like like Mysticum or Dimmu Borgir and stuff didn't break the whole stereotype, if we didn't break through, I think black metal in general could have ended like punk, become completely almost meaningless. So I think that's why people enjoy the album too, because it's an honest album, but also because it's timeless.
You say it's for you, it's your best work.
No, I wouldn't say it's the best work. The best work is to come still, It's going to be the new music we make is going to be the best. And then the next album again will be the best. And then the next album will be the best. So, but I understand it has a very special place in our hearts, obviously. Yeah.
Last question. Have you heard now the new single, Dimmu Borgir, the new release? What do you think about it?
Yeah, I saw the new video that came out. I work in security in my private life. So I was working at this bar, Viking bar, outside of where I live. And I walk in and it's the fucking keyboard guy from Dimmu Borgir who is working as the bartender. And he told me about he's also a friend of mine. He used to play in Kovenant before. And he's like, "Oh, hey, did you see we have a new video out?" No, I didn't see this. So I checked it out on YouTube, and I was very surprised. It sounds closer to old Dimmu Borgir, and they even singing in Norwegian.
Yes.
So that's a very good thing. I think it's very cool, interesting what they're doing right now.
It was more old Dimmu Borgir, that less symphonic, but also with modern sound. More produced, right? So talking about sound, I guess.
No, but when it comes to music in studios, all the old studios that all the Norwegian bands used to go to before, they don't exist anymore. And all the new studios are very high-tech, modern, and things like this. So that's the reason why you don't get the old sound anymore.
And what do you think about that? Do you like old school sound? Like, would you consider in recording an album with an old school sound?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah?
I would love to do that as well. Yeah, that's why I have other projects as well. I'm doing, but I'm trying to record as much as I can on my own, and not use big studios.
Mm-hmm.
So, but with Kovenant, we're definitely going to some known studio. We have some ideas, so we'll see. It's not going to be old school production. So I guess those days are basically over, I think.
Oh, sadly. I like the old school sound.
Yeah, I know. I do too.
Yeah. Like both, but I prefer like old school sound, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Anything you want to say? Do you want to say something to the Mexican crowd? You want to invite them to your show?
Yeah, I think as many as possible should show up. As I said, you'd never know. We could fucking die in a plane crash. We could get kidnapped by some fucking drug cartel in Honduras or something
Mexico,
weird. Yeah, something, or Mexico, something like this.
Oh, did you hear about Nargaro? Did you hear about Nargaro?
No, what?
No? Did you?
No.
They were here on a tour in Mexico, and
Okay.
just the same time when the main drug cartel in Mexico, the boss was caught. And
Oh yeah, I
and
heard about that.
they were touring here, and as we're like traveling, smiling, and they had like an accident with the band and all kind of stuff, but the great and the best attitude, but he was fine. they were fine. Yeah.
Yeah, so you never know, so I hope as many as possible can show up to the show. Like I said, we're going to be playing music from all our albums at Candelabrum Festival. We basically did Nexus Polaris with maybe like one or two bonus tracks. So we're going to play a very long set. We're playing multiple songs from In Times Before the Light, the first album. We're playing all of Nexus Polaris. We're playing lots of animatronic songs, and we're also playing SETI songs. So, and also I don't like to sit backstage. It's boring. I never go to the hotel straight away. I prefer to go out and meet people and talk to them and hang out and, have some drinks with fans and just like talk to people, because we have so much in common and things like this. So if people want to get fucking autographs, take some pictures, hang out, just talk shit, talk about stuff and enjoy some music. Yeah.
Well, I think that's very attractive. That sounds like a good plan. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much. It was a pleasure and nice to meet you. I hope you have a great day. And I cannot go. I mean, I was going to tell you, like, I'll meet you there, but I got a spinal surgery recently. That's why. So I'm still at home, but I'm really crying about not going, because I really love your band and I really love your show at Candelabrum. But well, I hope I see you next time.
We definitely have to come back.
Yes. Okay.
I thought you were wearing some kind of cybernetic robot thing on your chest, but it was like
and she's like futuristic too. Like
yeah, that's what I thought.
This is something I have to use as like a kind of support. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I really enjoyed this interview. So see you soon in Mexico.
See you soon in Mexico.